Story 1. Because I am aware enough to know that I lack the emotional availability required to be in a romantic relationship. Even the most casual, healthy relationship demands a certain amount of give and take from both partners, and I recognize that I am not in the right mindset for that at the moment. It wouldn't be fair to me, and certainly not to the other person either. No one is going to love you if you haven't learned how to love yourself, right? Story 2. I do not enjoy being around people. I find it exhausting. Perhaps the right person can change that, but I am content without taking that chance. Story 3. I am almost 25 years old. I had my first and only girlfriend for a short period of 3 months, but I had to break up because she was becoming difficult to be around. I do not need a partner just for the sake of having one. If I have a girlfriend, it will be because I find someone who positively enhances my life. If I cannot find that person, I am better off alone. Story 4. I have been out of a 3-year abusive relationship for 2 years and 6 months. I have no interest in dating and would rather be alone forever than risk dealing with that again. Story 5. Because of the number of people who view relationships as a dating game, I don't have the energy or mental strength to engage in relationships with this mindset becoming increasingly common. As a 29-year-old female, I just want to stay single. Story 6. I believe being happy is when you do not want more. Right now, I do not want more. With that said, I would not say it is the case that I do not want a relationship. I am just not actively looking for one. If I come across someone who makes me happier than I already am, I will not hesitate to pursue it. For years, I thought happiness could be found through others. Now, I realize that happiness should come from within, and anyone I enter a relationship with should only amplify it. Similarly, I should not be relied upon to fill anyone's void. Previously, I did not have relationships because I felt undateable due to my extremely low self-esteem. Now, I do not pursue relationships because I am happy enough not to allow just anyone into my life. It is a bit of a dilemma, as I do have strong desires for casual relationships, given my youth and how fun they appear from the outside. Story 7. I desire intimacy and someone to share my life with. Someone who genuinely likes me and wants to spend time with me specifically. However, I feel too old for a first relationship. I am turning 25 this year, and at this age, few people want someone with no relationship experience. Many who do prefer a power dynamic, which does not suit me. Even if I were to find someone who doesn't mind, I would always feel inferior to my partner because of our differing experiences. Additionally, others around me would likely treat me like a novice, criticizing me for making mistakes expected in a first relationship, as I'd be navigating this as an adult rather than a teenager. When the relationship ends, I would lack the experience to cope with those emotions. I would prefer to avoid a teenage heartbreak experience in my late 20s or, heaven forbid, my 30s. Story 8. I am 22 years old and want a relationship because I desire romantic love and a lifelong partner. I want to get married at some point and start a family. I have worked on myself a lot, and I am ready for it. However, the options are limited. Story 9. I'm 20 and I don't want a relationship, as it seems like a waste of strength and energy, especially knowing that we won't build a family. However, I also desire a relationship for physical contact, romance, and intimacy. Story 10. I'm turning 21. I have never had a relationship due to a complicated upbringing and awkward teenage years. However, that time allowed me to introspect, and I have improved significantly as a person. I've met wonderful new people and, in a way, gotten to know myself better than ever. I feel that the next step in my life is finding someone who compliments me and whom I compliment, bringing a new dimension of love and intimate expression into my life. Story 11. I am in a relationship right now, and let me say I wanted this. The feeling of someone loving you unconditionally, having your back regardless, and treating you like gold is amazing. The partnership, the growth, and the family that will be created are what I desire. I grew up watching my grandmother and grandfather, and I want that. Story 12. Because I do not understand the hype around relationships. I also do not have romantic feelings for other people in general, so I would rather observe from the safety of the sidelines. Story 13. Women can be challenging, and life can be stressful. I often struggle with the constant tests and shifting expectations. Many people can be difficult partners. Story 14, because it feels like home. It's the feeling of having another person in my life that I can trust and who loves me as much as I love her. Story 15. I want to pursue this because it is part of the life I envision for myself and a prerequisite for what I would consider to be a fulfilled life at this point. How much a relationship can give you when it works out is truly mind-boggling. As I get older, I would enjoy settling down and having more stability. However, I don't think I'm currently in the right place for it, and the negative impact of a suboptimal dating experience is giving me too much of a net negative for what I need right now. So, I'm not actively seeking a relationship at the moment. I haven't used any dating apps for a long time, have little presence on social media, and have only gone on the occasional date when circumstances aligned, without actively reaching out to anyone. Story 16. I am 29 years old and want a relationship. I need to at least give it a try despite the high failure rate. After family and friends disappoint you, you can still find hope in new people. Story 17. I am 23 years old and just broke up with my boyfriend of 3 years. I haven't been single since my teenage years and have not experienced being single in my adult life. I have spent too much time dealing with controlling partners and now feel ready to get to know myself and embrace being single for a change. Story 18. Because I have always been one to give emotionally and have always encountered the famous wall of, in the end, commitment isn't for me. So now I am fed up. Story 19. I love the idea of being close and intimate with someone. I haven't found the right person yet, and I don't go out enough to meet new people. The most I've tried was dating apps for a few months, but even then, I often get a superficial impression of what the other person is really like. Story 20. I had a couple of relationships throughout my 20s and realized I genuinely prefer to be single. There is less hassle, and I can do what I want when I want without having to share the bed with anyone. Story 21. It is really tough to make people understand one's situation. They say they do, but their actions often show the exact opposite. Bottling up feelings and being alone feels easier and more peaceful. It is definitely unhealthy, but at least it feels peaceful. Story 22. I feel unattractive and mentally disengaged. I have no self-love and genuinely feel better not worrying about it. I prefer not to have anyone too close to me. To be honest, I'm not sure I believe in love. Story 23. I am 29 and I am tired of trust issues. I tried to connect with people, but I mostly encountered manipulative individuals. Even those who pretended to be really good in the beginning revealed their morally twisted nature and narcissistic behavior. Story 24. I don't see why I should. The effort isn't worth the outcome. The amount of effort and mental exhaustion required to find a suitable partner and maintain that relationship in today's dating scene is simply not worth it, in my opinion. Story 25. It doesn't seem like the other party is interested. I no longer want to go through the same cycle repeatedly. It's tiring that men always have to take the initiative. Why waste energy, time, and money pursuing someone when those resources can be better invested elsewhere? Story 26. I'm about to leave my 20s this year, so I hope I still feel valid. I can speak for myself, but I will assume there are people similar to me. At the end of your 20s, you may have experienced a couple of relationships, or perhaps you just got happily married. What I can say is that there are more stages than just being in a relationship. It isn't uncommon for people to seek alternatives to traditional relationships anymore. You can be good friends and also take it further. However, it's once you move in together that you can truly assess if you're a good fit for marriage. A relationship, to me, is simply a deeper way of saying you are good friends. Only after living together do you begin to notice and learn about your partner's true self when you're not on a date night. This is why some people don't progress beyond the relationship stage, or why they break up afterward. While you can have fun in the dating stage and the relationship stage, that doesn't guarantee success in the marriage stage. Story 27. The only person I have ever loved and felt a true connection with did not reciprocate. I cannot find anyone else. Dating apps are disappointing. Story 28. I'm 18, so I'm not exactly in my 20s, but I just got out of a relationship. Looking back, I don't think I'm very good at being in one. I felt trapped, as if I had to do certain things. It was too stressful and overwhelming. I love my friends and the freedom I have with them. I don't want anything more than friendship. Story 29. It's related to time in my case. A relationship requires time invested in the other person, and since my priority is to use that time for my studies or job for my own development, I will not be able to dedicate it to my partner in life. Story 30. I have been in several relationships, and even when everything was good, I eventually realized that I am happier being single. Perhaps it's just not for me. Story 31. I want romance and intimacy. I want to be understood. I love my solitude and enjoy spending time alone. Unless I find someone who loves me the way I desire, the kind of love that brings liberation and intimacy, I will choose to stay by myself. Story 32. I am scared that if I let someone in, they will take advantage of me. It has happened before. As a result, I feel repulsed by people who express interest in me and am only attracted to those who I know are unable to reciprocate. Story 33. I was worried for a long time that I was wrong for having feelings for people when I knew I didn't experience sexual attraction. Thankfully, I've been in a relationship for 6 years now that's strictly romantic with a partner who feels the same way as I do. I think the ups and downs can be really intense in a relationship, but I enjoy companionship and sharing experiences with someone at a level that's deeper than friendship. Story 34. I am currently at a point in my life where I am not satisfied, so a relationship is the last thing I need, and I am not ready for it. Additionally, my suspicious nature makes it difficult for me to trust others. Story 35. I am currently in a high-risk phase of my life, wanting to pursue my own path instead of working in a corporate environment. I feel socially behind due to mental health challenges I experienced while growing up, which I still need to address. Story 36. I am 23 years old and in a relationship that I genuinely value. Does it require effort? Yes. Does it need commitment? Yes. Will you sometimes have difficult conversations? Yes. But is it worth it? Absolutely. This person means everything to me, and I would do anything for him. He has changed me for the better, which is everything I ever wanted in a relationship. Someone who is not afraid to help me improve myself while also appreciating my positive qualities. Story 37. I don't want to lose my freedom when it comes to following my dreams. I saw this a lot in college. I had a friend who wanted to become a medical doctor so badly, but she ended up getting married in her mid-20s, and her husband told her not to go to medical school. I have friends who have lost incredible career opportunities, like studying overseas or in a different state, because they didn't want to leave their partners behind. Story 38. I wish I could have a friendship relationship with animals. At least they are not cheaters or liars and can risk their lives for you. Story 39. Well, as of now, there is nothing sexual involved. I just want someone to hold and fall asleep with, to kiss and to go out with. I want someone's hand to hold while walking down the beach. Story 41. I enjoy my solo life too much at the moment. 2. I do not want to wake up and think about someone else. 3. I am busy, so something would need to change. Even if it's only 2 days a week for dating, I would have to think long and hard about what I want to give up right now. 4. I have significant pursuits ongoing, and as a result, I am in a transient phase until further notice. 5. While I am not averse to meeting someone and would likely enjoy a relationship or companionship beyond friends and family, I am currently only open to organic meetups. Sitting on dating apps and binge dating are not my priorities. Story 41. I think it can be a distraction, especially during your 20s, which are considered a golden period for building your personal life. Story 42. I don't want to be in a relationship not because I can't commit, but because I feel that many people cannot handle the fact that I need to isolate myself for a few hours each day to maintain my sanity. My social battery does not last long, and sometimes I just need to unwind. Additionally, most connections aren't genuine anymore. Many people say things they do not mean, and perhaps it is just me, but I feel like I sense this more now, so I tend to stay away from it in general. Someone mentioned that if a person could change their perspective on not wanting to be around people because it tends to be exhausting, they might be more open to connection. However, on a deeper level, I feel there is a lack of loyalty nowadays. It seems that people do not truly understand love anymore, as most of the time it is merely lust. I have had an interest in a few people, but I lost interest just as quickly due to certain things they followed or reacted to, which I found distasteful. It is disappointing that many men would prefer an online model who would never give them any real attention over a woman who is physically present. I cannot speak for all women, but this situation constantly affects the way I approach things. I know I am attractive, but because of this, people often assume I am involved with someone or have a secret relationship. In reality, I would love to open up to someone genuinely, but things are so uncertain these days that I would rather stay inside, where I feel comfort rather than disappointment or anxiety. Story 43. I am almost 30 but have never been in a relationship. I have been single all my life and have grown very accustomed to this lifestyle. It will be very difficult for me to enter a relationship at this point in my life. I am somewhat selective, and dating apps do not appeal to me. Story 44. I am trying to figure things out in my life before I dive into a relationship again. I am really enjoying my time being single and learning how to appreciate my own company. I was also cheated on in my previous relationship, so I need to understand how I can trust someone again. If I cannot do that, then things will not work in my future relationships. Story 45. I do not care for a relationship. Sure, intimacy, affection, and reliability would be good, but let's be honest. Who has the time? Especially since I feel alienated from most people due to living in a foreign country where the dating culture is vastly different. Story 46. Somewhere along the road, I lost faith in unconditional love. It requires constant effort to maintain a loving relationship, and that's a condition I cannot guarantee I will always be able to fulfill. The pain of losing someone you love overshadows the sweet memories, turning them bittersweet instead. I do not want to risk that heartache again. Story 47. Because I am disabled and asexual, I can't be bothered going through the whole mess of telling someone only to be ghosted, stood up, or have them get upset because I then decide to say nothing until the date and they find out. It's a lose-lose situation and I despise it. Story 48. God be damned if I want one. I was in a relationship for a short time, but it was amazing. I loved every second of it until she left me. Since then, I have had no luck. Having been dealt a bad hand and knowing it, there is only so much I can do. But I will try if I ever find anyone interesting again, and if she finds me interesting too. Story 49. I am interested in a 27-year-old as a 21-year-old, and despite us hitting it off, I am worried she will leave when she finds out. Story 50. Personally, right now, I don't want to pursue a relationship because I just went through a breakup with someone I absolutely loved and thought was the one. I was told she lost her feelings and doesn't know why. I can't be bothered. Story 51. I have a very limited social battery and will get tired of talking to someone after about an hour. I don't really have much drive to engage socially. I'm happy with my current position and feel fulfilled enough without needing to rely on someone else for my happiness. If I need something to love, I get a pet. Story 52. Apathy. I don't have enough interest to seek a relationship, but I also lack the motivation to avoid it if one arises. As a result, I am single. Story 53. I am more comfortable with my own independence. People enter relationships to get married, start a family, and grow old, but I don't want that. As long as I love myself, I am good, and I don't need to seek that from others. Until I find someone who changes my mind, then we'll see. Story 54. I am in a relationship with a really great guy, but if we broke up, I would probably stay single for a long time because men often want things to be equal or will call you a gold digger. This is not the case, as both partners work full-time and end up doing the majority of the domestic labor, while some men weaponize their incompetence and expect to be cared for. Many have porn addictions. Some don't even realize or accept this, as they believe porn is normal and should be a safeguarded pleasure. Some men are more interested in looking at women they'll never meet than in having real intimacy. I have met men in their early 20s with erectile dysfunction from watching so much porn, which is concerning. And no, I am not unattractive. I am objectively attractive with a great figure. Furthermore, the man who commented that women expect a lot while looking unattractive is a prime example. If you do not meet unrealistic beauty standards set by heavily edited images or the women in the porn they prefer, you may not be seen as deserving of basic respect or kindness. I would rather not invest in this dynamic and focus on taking care of myself. I can have intimacy when I want. I don't need a relationship for that, although it is preferable. I walk away from any man who shows those red flags. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.